Okay, I think it's recording. I think it is. Sorry about that. Um, to get started, I'm gonna be doing it on this website, which is where I coded on anyways, because I like how it can have a bigger screen. I think this is the code prior to me adding the comments. It is, but that's okay because I'm going to describe the code anyways. To get it started, I wrote a little intro, but I already introduced myself and the code. Well, my name's Weedy, but I already introduced what I'm going to be doing. The game is a survival type of game where you fight off waves of enemies with either guns that you acquire or knives that orbit around you. And I'm just going to walk through the code and explain how everything works as best I can, or as briefly as I can, or concise, or all that jazz. Is there any way to make this taller? There is not. Okay. Yeah, there's not. All right. So to start, at the very top here, you can see right here, I have constants and states. And a little comment. This is all of the constants and all of the game states and all that, etc. Well, not game states, but this is all the the constants and arrays and all that. So at the top of the file, I have all my global variables and constants. Constants like W and H, which is set, well, were set to 400. Well, still are, but they get changed down here when I scale everything. But I'll go over that when I get down there. And they never change what they kind of do now. I wrote the script a little while ago, so I'm gonna have to freeball. But there are variables like player health, score, wave, camera X, camera Y, all that, etc. That stores game state, and it updates as you play. I made these global because pretty much everything in the game, like every little part, every little piece, needs to be able to access them and work with them. So I thought it would be easier if I just made pretty much every variable, just accessible. I said it a second ago. I don't know why I blanked. Right here is all the upgrades. This is just another array. This is an array of upgrades and all that jazz where you can see, like, add gun, add knife, gain 15 health, and they have all conditions and everything. So, like, here, where is it? Available. This makes it so that it's only available if it only returns true for available if you have less than 4 guns, and then the function of it and the effect of it is that it gives you +1 gun and all that stuff. So there's all that stuff here. Talk about that. I think that's later down in the script. I think. No, I don't actually describe this in the script. Because I wrote it before I did the full screen stuff. So here, here is like all the stuff to make it so that it scales and works properly. So up at the top, the values up here, right here. No, not right here. Where is my? I scrolled too far. There we go. Right here is what helps me to scale the center of the game inside any window size. So I wanted to do this because I need to sneeze. Ooh. I wanted to do this because for the presentation, I wanted to have a bigger screen than just a little tiny thing on Current Course. So I did this. The full screen doesn't actually work in Current Course, but I thought it would be nice anyways. And then, so the first one is the scale factor, and that's how much to scale the 400 by 400 game by in order to fill the window. And then the offset X is the horizontal padding to center the game. Offset Y is the vertical padding to center the game, all that type of stuff. And then that all gets set down below, right below it. Right, where is it? Right here. I'm losing track of where I am on my screen. Sorry, I'm a little bit sick if you hear all the gross noises I have. And then right there is where it recalculates the scale and offset whenever the window size changes. I learned this from a previous course. I did have to freshen up a little bit on it, but I knew like the general gist of it. Down below is where it actually gets the smaller dimensions so the game always fits without being cut off. Right here is where all that happens. And we come down here. This was a little bit of the confusing part. Not really. It looks simple, but it took me a little bit to figure out. This just converts the screen mouse into game coordinates. So since the game doesn't actually, it's like weird. The game doesn't actually follow along, and it's still being drawn at the original coordinates. So I have to scale and offset with a little bit of math to find out where the mouse is inside the new game world whenever it is full screen. And then right below it, the applying scale and centering. I call this at the start of any draw function just to make sure that everything is in the right place and the right size and all that. And the translate just makes it so that it draws to the center of the game, it shifts, and the scale of the scale factor just scales everything up and down to fit the window. That's all that stuff figured out. And then down here, I have all the classes. So I have the button class. This is just from what you gave us. I think I fiddled with it a little bit, but not really. Knife class. So the knife class, oh, excuse me, as said before, I'm sick a little bit. So down here, I think this is where the script picks up. Yes, I have all my kind of arrays, but not really. I have my knife class, I have my bullet class, I have my gun class, I have my enemy class. I think I have, nope, that's it. But so the button class, I don't need to explain that. That's just a button. The knife class, this update is just to make it so that it rotates around. The offset is how much it gets offset by each time. And then this .x, this moves it along around a circle on me. So like this is cosine, so this would be the xy. This is sine, this would be the y. This would be the y, that would be the x. Oh, and then this just gets the angle and slaps that on in there and adds the offset to it. So that makes it so it moves around in a circle. I have 2 pi divided by this dot total. So they stay evenly spaced. And then this just, I think this is, one second. Yes, right here is where this is the collision logic for the knives. So if they hit an enemy, it'll kill the enemy and then you increase EXP. Here is just to draw it. Sorry, one second. Ooh, it gone away. Okay, this is the bullet. This is the bullet class. Out of all the entities or whatever with collision boxes, this is the only non-enemy one that has a dead function, and that's just to make it so that when it does collide with a enemy, it also is deadly. Right here, this dot dead equals true. If it collides, this is also the collision for that. So if it collides with an enemy, it's dead. This is very, very similar to the knife. It's just, I think it's actually the same exact code, just edited a tiny bit for the correct whatever. This is the update to make it so they move at a constant rate at whatever angle they were fired at from the gun. This just draws them, only if they're not dead. The gun class. This one was a little tricky. The code doesn't look too tricky, but it took me a long while to figure out the actual targeting of it. So let me see what I wrote down in my notes, because this one was a little tricky, and I did it a while ago. So let me just make sure that I have correct. But I think I am pretty sure on. Yeah. So what it just basically does is it finds the nth living enemy. So I think what I meant to do was it would take the closest living enemy, but I think what ended up happening is it just takes the like next living enemy, which like is fine, but I wanted to do it based off distance. I failed at that, but this works pretty fine anyways. It ends up later on in the game just shooting, in a direction or whatever, which is a little annoying, but it works. And it like eventually fixes itself and whatever. So it was just a little, I would have liked it to be better, but it works for what I need it to be. This is just, telling when to shoot and all that type of stuff, moving it. This is drawing it. This is moving it, all that stuff. The enemy class, very simple. It's just, it makes them spawn at one of the edges. This randomly selects which edge it's going to be at, and then it spawns it within a certain range in that edge. So like by edge, I mean like edge of the screen. This is the update. This makes it move towards the player by taking the distance between them. This makes sure the enemies do not overlap by taking a set minimum distance, which is, I need to sneeze again. Which right here, the minimum distance is the radius of the enemy times 2, because there's going to be 2 radiuses that are colliding because 2 enemies are overlapping. Then you just separate them by that, that push them apart, keeps them. But it does add quite a bit of lag, but I wanted it anyways. These are the buttons. This is the start button. It sets the screen to playing when you click it. This is the retry button. It resets the game state, which is called down there. and on click it goes. Although I think in reset game state I did end up putting, where is it? Yeah, I put the scene start in there instead of the actual button, which works, and I liked it because it was cleaner. The pause. Oh, the pause back button is just the one that you can click when you pause, like right here. Pause, you can go to the main menu. That's essentially the same thing as the reset game button. I don't know why I did two separate things, but I did. Full screen button, that makes it full screen. These are the core functions. Because I did it somewhere else, I had to set up a canvas first. That doesn't really matter for core course. The canvas is already set up, but I did have to do it here. And I initialized it by spawning a gun, so you just spawn in with a singular gun. This is just to resize the window when it is full screen. That just resizes the window, makes it so it all fits, blah, blah, blah. This is the order of the scenes. This just takes the scenes, makes sure that, they're on the right thing. If scene equals start screen, game screen, upgrade screen, pause screen, end screen, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. This is the mouse clicked function for all the scenes. Ooh, sorry. And scene equals start button, handle mouse click, reach Y button, handle mouse click, blah, 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 pause button, full screen button, all this type of stuff. Upgrade choices, way, blah, 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 blah. There's all that good stuff coded in here. It just makes it so it handles the button clicks of the. Oh my God, sorry. I don't know how I'm going to take this exam tomorrow, but makes it so that it codes in all the button clicks, the mouse clicks, sorry. This is just for, which one is this? Oh, I forget what the key code for 80 is. I think that's just P. I think that's P. I think this is so you can pause the screen. It is. This is my pause screen logic. I think 80 is P. If it's not P, then I don't know what the code is for, but I'm pretty sure it is P. 80 key code. 90% sure. It is it. It is P. Okay, perfect. Yeah, this is the pause screen logic. If the screen is playing or the screen is paused and the key code pressed is 80, which is P, scene equals playing. Ooh. Scene equal playing. Then it paused or playing. All the type of good stuff. I explained that terribly. Let me go back. Hold up. I have notes written down again. Let's go. I should probably stick to my script. I think this thing is going much longer than it should be. I don't like reading off scripts. I probably should do it though. Where is? Nope. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I actually said it correctly. The P key toggles the game on and off during the game. Yeah. Okay. Ooh. This is the start screen. Just draws everything with the button, all that good stuff. This is the game screen. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. The apply scale is just to scale it with the game. I did that up there. I explained it up there. This sets the drawing context so that it always draws within wherever it's supposed to be with respect to the new scale. And then everything down here follows through these. Where's the next thing I should probably explain? This draws the player. This handles the player movement, which we do through camera X and camera Y. Instead of the player actually moving, you stay in the middle and everything moves around you to give the illusion of movement. If we had been able to add a background, that would have been a lot better, but it's fine. This moves the knife angle according to the knife rotation speed, which we have as a variable up there. This draws the knives. This draws the guns. This separates the guns' angles. Didn't end up working how I wanted it to be, but it works when they first spawn, but when they start actually aiming, it doesn't work. I would have, if I had time, I would have gone back and fixed it, but I didn't. This spawns the bullets. This increases the wave frame count and the frames since spawn. This handles the logic with how many enemies spawn at once, and I think how quickly the enemies spawn too, unless I am incorrect. Spawn into. No. I think that's somewhere down here. I'll get to it when I get to it. I think it's somewhere down here, right? Yeah, it is down there. Okay, I'll explain it when I get to it. This spawns the enemies. I think, right? Oh no, this spawns the enemies and it separates them. No. Yes, it does. This spawns the enemies and separates them. I'm a little all over the place. Apologies. Been doing number theory all day. This sees if the enemies are dead, and if they are, it splices them out of your range to reduce lag. It takes them out, gets rid of them, so that the game does not break as much as it will. Even and when you play it, if you get to a far round, you'll notice that it does have quite a bit of lag. That's what are you gonna do about it? This does the HUD type of thing. So this handles this. The wave 1 HP 150 score 0, and the EXP bar draws the EXP bar, which we'll get to in a second. This is the wave. So every wave, the spawn interval goes down by 0.8. It maxes out at 10 frames. That's the quickest it can go. And if the player's health is 0, it ends. Drawn context restored. I need to sneeze. Oh my god. Ugh. Alrighty. And this is the upgrade screen, which you can see currently, actually. This. Oh my god. Ooh. Yeah, this is the upgrade screen. And then here it has Get Mouse, which is called up here with the mouse clicked functions. Where is it? Yeah, GM. That's what GM is. It's the Get Mouse function, which I have described right here in upgrade screen, because that is the first screen that popped up that needed to actually get the mouse. Actually, no, I think start screen also needed to do that, didn't it? Yeah, there it is. Get mouse. But upgrade screen, where is it? Upgrade screen needs to do it so that it can, well, here, I think, yeah, it calls the get mouse. So I'm, sorry, still over the place. It calls get mouse, it gets the mouse. And then here is where it draws the cards. It draws them, and then it, if the mouse is over them, it highlights them a little bit. Otherwise, it's this. That's how we get it, like this. Pause screen, all that type of good stuff. It's just has the background, it applies the scale to the background. It grabs the column at 1x and column 2x, which is, here I can show you. This is the column 1, this is column 2. And then this will all be in column 1, health, speed, knives, guns. This will all be column 2, knife, speed, gun, fire rate, wave, all that good stuff. Gets the mouse, all that good stuff, sets the pause back button, full screen button, etc., etc. End screen, that's just it's kind of like the start. It's basically just a start screen's code, except some of the words are interchanged. Game functions, the player movement. This is just if the key is W, A, S, or D, it moves respectively. This is spawning knives. This is spawning guns. Very simple. This is separating the gun angles. As I said, didn't end up working, so I won't go too far in depth on it. I tried my best. Didn't end up working. Well, it works. When they spawn, it works. But it doesn't work if they're aiming. That's what I couldn't figure out. But it's okay. Reset game state. This just sets everything back to what it originally was. This draws the EXP bar. All that fun stuff based on how much EXP you have, which is calculated. I think the increase, yeah, it's down here. It based on how much EXP you have, which increases every time you take a kill. This is the open upgrade screen. And this is just, it's called in the upgrade screen function, I think. Or it's called, I think it's called actually in the, not here, not here, not here, not here. I just need, no, the update. Oh, sorry. Pause screen, end screen. Where's update screen? Yeah, current upgrade choices.length. So what this does, so what it does is it takes the variable available, right? And it sets it equal to all upgrades, and it filters them based on which upgrade is available. And then it sets that equal to and then it sets the variable available equal to that. So that then what happens, if the upgrade is available, it returns that upgrade. It returns that the upgrade is available as true. And then it shuffles them. I have this right here, available.slice.sort function. So that takes them and it sorts. So it slices the ones that are not available, and it sorts. It takes the ones that are available and it slices them, and then it sorts them, and then it returns. Oh my god! I need to sneeze. No, apparently. Yes, I do. Holy crikey. Okay. Ugh. Yeah. So what happens is right here. Where is it? This, if none are available. Ugh. Okay, I'm done being disgusting now. So this shuffles the list randomly and takes the first three, essentially. Colonel Great Choice shuffled. Yep. So this just takes the first three. Boom, bam, bop. Done. This just increased the EXP. That's it. I'm sorry if it was all over the place or if my explanations weren't all that great. I am very sick right now. I will probably be in a mask for the exam tomorrow. And my notes that I wrote for this were back before we added a few things. So I was not as prepared as I thought I was for the thing. I will make sure to have the comments on the final code all fully fleshed out and everything. And yeah, again, apologies if I was all over the place or gross or whatever. Thank you very much.